Hi, everyone, and welcome to the EVS ART 2023 training. My name is Christopher Wynn, and today we'll be going over the breakout and comparison template set, how to enter data, and what your results and analysis should look like. If you've used our tool in the past, welcome back. This will all be very familiar. We are excited for all of our new users to experience the simplicity of the tool. Our design philosophy is to ensure that the tool is accessible to everyone. It's made by Feds for Feds. If you'd like to skip to the training portion, please fast forward to the 2-minute mark. EVS ART is the creation of Robin Clevens under NIDDK's direction, a continual effort to better use the resources provided by the federal government. EVS ART empowers your organization to extract valuable insight from OPM's Federal Employee Viewpoint Survey, also known as FEVS, enabling data-informed, employee-based initiatives and strategies. It will save you time, effort, and resources. With EVS ART, you can quickly generate reports that include OPM-defined FEVS index measures, key categories, performance dimensions, and annual employee survey items. You can find the full library of EVS ART resources at community.connect.gov. Just search EVS ART and it'll bring you straight to our homepage. You'll see all of our available templates for that year, the single organization year-to-year, the 2-organization comparison, and our 3, 5, 7, and 9 multi-organization templates. And last but not least, our expanded comparison heat maps. And this is for both the all levels and the breakout comparison formats. If you cannot access our homepage, or if you have any feedback or questions after any of the trainings today, please don't hesitate to reach out to us at evs.art@nih.gov. And without further ado, let us jump into today's training. In this video, we'll be going over the single org year-to-year template, the 2-org comparison template, and the 3 multi-org template. Please make sure to have on hand your organization's OPM breakout and/or comparison FEVS report results. These would typically be provided to you by your FEVS point of contact, so please do reach out to them if you've yet to see something like this. I'll be using anonymized data for the purpose of this video. Here you can see that the results are broken up in tabs by the core survey questions and other index measures, key categories, and performance dimensions. We'll be moving through these tabs shortly. Within EVS ART, you'll start on our About page, which has a brief overview of what each tab contains and our terms and conditions containing our trademark guidelines. The next tab, labeled 1, Start Analysis here, contains step-by-step instructions on how to use the tool. So please do refer back here if you do get lost during today's training. Starting with step number 1, we're going to be entering the acronym of the organization that we want to analyze, which in this case would be Organization A. Step number 2, we'll be entering a custom message, which usually is the participation rate or any other interesting data points that you find throughout the analysis today. For step number 3, we'll be referring back to our FEVS comparison and/or breakout report for the data that we were going to copy into tab number 2. So moving into tab number 2, enter 2023 FEVS data here. You'll see here that we've delineated sections for different tabs in your OPM FEVS results, here in the light blue. If you look at the instructions at the top, they can lead you through it, but as long as you paste the data from these blue tabs, then we'll be just fine. So going into our FEVS breakout report, we're going to go ahead and go to the core items tab and see here, you'll see in the top header, there will be these squares with the down arrow in them. If you do not see that, please go ahead and select the entirety of the sheet by clicking on the top left corner and then going over here and clicking sort and filter in the top right. Adding this filter option here will add those triangles for you to be able to filter your data. What we'll be needing to do here is we'll need to filter just for organizations A and that data set specifically. So by clicking in the column B, organization header, we'll be clicking in this square and then going ahead and unselecting or selecting just organization A. By doing so, you see now that we filtered the data just to contain organization A's set. Now we're going to go ahead And in column E, item respondents, and all the way through to column J, we're going to go ahead, click and drag all the way down until we have selected the entirety of the data. Go ahead, right-click, copy, and then moving back into our EVS ART tool. And in the top left square of the blue section, we're going to go ahead, right-click, and then paste special with this specific icon. It is a clipboard with the 1, 2, 3 in the bottom right corner, also known as pasting as values. And doing so will maintain the integrity of the data and making sure that all the formulas do work. Moving on to the next few sections, we have the performance tab. So we're going to go ahead, go back into our breakout report, going to the performance tab, again, making sure that the triangles are here. And if they're not, selecting the data, sort and filter, and adding our filter. But since it's already here, and since it's actually only just one line of data, we don't need to filter all of it. We can just go ahead and select that row that we need. Right-click, copy, and going back to our template, pasting as values. And last but not least, we're going to be copying data for the telework tab. Again, no need to filter this data. It's just going to be one row, organization A, selecting that specific set of data, right-click, copy, and back into the template and pasting. And with that, that completes our data input for the single org year-to-year comparison template. Now, as this is a year-to-year template, if you would like to compare prior year data, then in the next tab, tab number 3, enter comparison data here, you can have your prior year data entered. So if you have 2022 data, 2020, or any year prior to that, again, remember that for the 2021 survey, that there was not a comparison or breakout report released, that we can have that data entered into this section. Going into the prior year data's report, we're going to go ahead and remember to select just the organization A's data by adding that filter. Again, going ahead into column E through I, that's item respondents all the way to do not know. We're going to click and drag, and then right-click and copy. Going back into our template for the prior year data, under the core survey questions in the blue section, we're going to go ahead, right-click, and then paste as value. Again, the clipboard with the 1, 2, 3 in the bottom right. I'm just going to verify to make sure that's all there. It's always good to check your data. And then we're going to move into the performance tab section. Performance tab. No need to add a filter this time. It's just going to be that single row of data. Copy. And then pasting into the light blue section. 2 more. We're going to go into the new hires tab. Selecting organization A's data. So I'm just clicking and dragging here. Right-click, copy, and then pasting under new hires. And last but not least, we're going to be going into the accessibility needs tab in this section. You'll see here that there are 3 questions that we're going to need to copy from. So when we do go into the accessibility needs tab, you'll see that now we're going to have to filter that data for what we need. Or you can just go ahead and select each row of data manually for those 3 questions. And there you go. Last but not least, under C14, you're going to want to add the comparison year data that you have. If you do have more than 1 year's of prior year data, you can go ahead and click on these tabs in the top left, and they'll navigate you to that particular set of data that we'll need to put in. But just for today, we're going to be using 2022. And with that, we've completed all of our data input for the single org year-to-year template. The rest of the tabs that we're going to be moving through will be showing the analysis that the EVS ART tool will be doing for us. So under tab number 4, you'll see highest positive response questions, lowest positive response questions, highest neutral response questions, highest negative response questions, and also largest positive shifts from the prior year to current year, and then as well largest negative shifts from prior year to current year. And so all these charts here that we have on tab number 4 are very useful just to see at a glance what your highs and your lows are. Moving into tab number 5, 6, and 7, those are your index measures, key categories, and performance dimensions. You'll be able to see each of the individual questions and drill down through the different indices, key categories, and performance dimensions to really delve into what we may need to work on for the next year. You'll see that sometimes with prior year data, we will have empty squares, and that's just because those questions did not exist, or there is no one-to-one comparison to the prior year data. Moving into performance dimensions, I'll just make a note here that we have green arrows for the percent point change for things that have increased from prior year, and then we have down arrows in red for any changes that were made negatively. And then moving into our AES items, these are OPM mandated questions. And then our telework and remote work special questions. 10 is our cross-reference tool. So this tool is very useful for being able to select or filter specific questions that you'd like to look at, or maybe sorting from smallest to largest for the positive, neutral, or negative percent questions. You can also filter and select specific indices, key categories, or performance dimensions. So for example, if I would like to look at the DEIA indices, then I can have that filtered. And last but not least, we have tab number 11, the interactive action plan. This is for your use. If you'd like, you can use the questions and the data will populate in. And then for G, H, and I columns, these are for your potential actions and initiatives, the individuals leading out with those, and the target completion date. And moving on to the to/or comparison template for the 2023 OPM FEVS comparison and breakout report, we'll be starting on tab 1, start analysis here, with the step-by-step instructions. And so step number 1, you want to enter the acronym of the primary organization, which we'll be using branch C. And then for step 2, you want to enter the acronym of the comparison organization, so branch F. And then moving on to step 3, you can add a custom message with perhaps the organization's participation rate or any other interesting data points that you may come across during your analysis. For step number 4, we're going to be accessing our OPM FEVS comparison or breakout report to enter the data into tab 2, enter 2023 FEVS data here. And so you see again at the top, you have step-by-step instructions in order to copy and paste the data. And so for that, we'll be moving now into the OPM FEVS breakout or comparison report. We're going to be locating branch C's data. And so you'll want to, again, add this filter just for branch C so that we can select that subset of data to copy and paste. Make sure, again, that you're at the top of your data, copying from column E, item respondents, all the way to column J, do not know, and then clicking and dragging all the way down to the bottom of your data. Right-click, copy, and then move back to your EVS ART template. And then in this light blue section at the top left of item respondents, we're going to go ahead, right-click, paste as values. That's going to be the clipboard with the 1, 2, 3 in the bottom right of the icon. Scroll down to check your data. Looks good. All right. And then we'll be moving again now to the performance tab of the report. That's going to be here on your second tab. And you don't need to filter the data. It's just going to be one row of data here. And so again, we'll just be taking E all the way through to K. Oops. Right click, copy, and then back to the template. Right click, paste. Great. Now, last but not least, the telework tab for Q90 for question 91. And that's going to be your third tab in the report. Again, no need to filter. It's just going to be one row of data. I can just click and drag it, right click, copy, or Control C if you do like using shortcuts in Excel. And then back into EVS ART, we're going to right click, paste as values. Great. So that finishes our data for copy and pasting for branch C. To move on to branch F, our comparison organization, you have here the second tab in the top row. If you just click on that, you'll see that it highlighted into this dark blue, showing that it's active. And now we've moved into a different section of this sheet where we can add branch F's data. So we're just going to do the same thing, copy and pasting the core items, performance, and the telework data. Going back to core items, and you'll want to then, it'll probably still have the filter on the previous organization you're copying. You'll just want to change that by clicking on the icon again, unselecting the previous organization, and then clicking on the one that you want currently. Right click, drag all the way down. Great. Copy. Go back to EVS ART and paste. And we're going to go ahead and do that for the performance and telework sections now too. So you can see that as I'm performing the copy and pasting with just the to/or comparison template, it is just a few clicks back and forth between to get our data in. It's very simple, no need for any further manual processes. And with that, we've completed our copy and pasting for the template, and the rest of the tabs will all populate with the correct analysis and data. So for tab 3, results at a glance, you'll see here our top level charts, including the index measures, key categories. So employee engagement, global satisfaction, employee experience, performance confidence, and then the DEIA. And then our key categories: my work experience, my work unit, my organization, my supervisor, leadership, and my satisfaction. Moving on to tab 4, 5, and 6, those are going to be our index measures, key categories, and performance dimensions. These, again, tabs allow you to drill down to individual questions to see how you've performed against the comparison organization, whether you've gone up or down according to the percent point difference. There will be highlighted cells either as a dark red, a dark blue for the neutral and negative, and that will highlight certain questions that you'll want to definitely focus on within your organization. Moving on to tab number 7, that's our annual employee survey items. These are OPM defined questions that we would like to include. And then 8 is our telework remote work questions. 9 is the cross-reference tool. If you run across this error with the hashtag N/A, you'll once again go into cell B8 and select the organization that you want to see, and the data will populate accordingly. So this tool is very useful for if you like to sort by the question number, or if you like to see specific ones. You can also sort the positive, neutral, negative percents by smallest or largest. And then with the index measures, key category, performance dimensions, you can also select and filter those depending on which ones you'd like to see. It's a very useful tool. With our last tab, tab number 10, interactive action plan. This is for your organization's use. You can select an organization whether C or F in this case, and then the question number, and that data will populate in. Columns H, I, and J, the potential actions and initiatives, those who are leading out, and a target completion date for those actions and initiatives in order to improve on your branches or offices' FEVS results. Moving on to our multi-3 org comparison template for the 2023 OPM FEVS comparison and breakout reports. Today we'll be using Office B, Branch D, and Branch E. And if you'd like to compare more organizations than that, we do have available on our homepage 5 org, 7 org, and 9 org comparison templates. And if you'd like to even go further than that, we urge you to use our expandable comparison heat maps, where you can expand the Excel sheet for as many organizations as you'd like to compare. For step 2, you want to add a custom message, including either the participation rate or any other interesting data points that you find during your analysis. Moving on to step 3, you'll want to again refer back to your OPM FEVS comparison or breakout report for the organizations that we've selected above. And so we'll be going to that under tab number 2, enter 2023 FEVS data here. In this light blue section, you'll want to copy and paste the data according to the blue tabs that we've indicated here. So going now into our FEVS comparison report, I'm going to be copying the data for Office B. And so to do that, I'll want to click on these down arrows that are available in the first row or the header row of your comparison report. If they're not there, you'll want to go ahead and select those headers and add a filter by clicking on this button here. So to select organization B or Office B, I'm going to be deselecting all of them and then just selecting Office B. Doing so will now have that subset of data available to me. I'm going to click on column E and then click and drag all the way through to column J. And that will collect all of the data that I want to copy. So I can do the right-click copy, move back into EVS ART, and then right-click and paste as values. So again, that's this clipboard icon with the 1, 2, 3. And I'm just going to verify that all the data came across. Yep, there it is. And then I'm going to perform that same task for Performance tab and the Telework tab. You'll see that when we go into the Performance tab, that we won't need to filter at all. All we can do is just click on that specific row, that single row, and then copy. No need to filter. And then doing the same thing for the Telework tab, if we move over there, that's going to be in this third tab here in the comparison report. Click and drag, right-click copy, and then pasting in the correct section. So I'm here, I'm right-clicking. Seems to have deselected me, so I'm gonna go back. Right-click copy. Sometimes Excel can get a little bit moody. There you go. And then I'll right-click and paste as values. And so for that, we've completed the data copy and pasting for Office B. And now if we want to do it for the next 2 branches, we're going to go do that now. If we click on branch D in the top row, it will move us into branch D's section of information. So you'll see here that I've already pasted the data ahead of time for the Performance and Telework tabs because those are quite simple to do, but I'm just going to show you now how we're going to do it for the core items. So going back to the core items tab in the report, we'll want to scroll all the way back to the top, and then we're going to clear our filter by clicking on that filter icon. We can clear the filter, or we can just deselect Office B and then reselecting branch D. I'm going to click on our first row of data, clicking and dragging it all the way down, and then right-click and copy. Moving back to EVS ART, we're going to, in this light blue section, in the first top left cell, right-click and paste as values. And we're going to go ahead and do the same thing for branch E. I've gone ahead and done it the same as if in my best Paula Deen impersonation. For our tab 3 results at a glance, we're going to see those 3 offices and branches as they stack up against each other. And so those are going to be separated into index measures and the key categories. For tabs 4, 5, and 6, that's our index measures, our key categories, and our performance dimensions, respectively. We can drill down into each of those index measures, each of those key categories, and each of those performance dimensions, all the way down to the question level to see how they stack up. You'll see that sometimes in this neutral or negative results, there may be a highlighted cell. That's, again, if they exceed a certain threshold, and so that we want our organizations to focus in, especially on those questions, in order to improve them for the future. Moving on to tab number 7, that's our annual employee survey items. This way, OPM has mandated that these will be part of the selection and part of the report. For tab number 8, that's our FEVS telework and remote work results. And then for 9, our cross-reference tool. We'll want to go ahead and select Office B, Branch D, or Branch E, and those results will populate in according to what you selected in that cell. And again, this tool is very useful if you want to take a look at specific questions. You can filter or select specific ones. You can also sort positive percent, neutral percent, or negative percent for the smallest or largest. And then again, we can do the same for the index measures, key categories, and performance dimensions. Moving on to our last tab, the interactive action plan is for your organization's use to compare and contrast different organizations and the question number. And then we can have potential actions and initiatives, select a lead, and a target completion date so that we can improve on these results for the future FEVS. And so this concludes our training for the breakout and comparison templates for today. If you have any questions, please do reach out to us at evs.art@nih.gov. Thank you so much for joining me today, and please have a great day. Thank you.